Hi everybody, this is Stan Slaughter from Missouri Organic Recycling. We're here at Westport Commons Farm, operated by Cultivate KC, and here's farm manager Emily Schaefer.
Hi.
And what we're doing today is the second part of the Compost Fest. The windrow that our Bobcat operator, that's Mark Kalin, all-star. He's flattening out the pile, stirring the pile, and what's coming pretty soon is 2,500 gallons of yeasty beer dregs. We're going to mix it in here. So Emily, where did this pile come from?
So this pile of yard waste came from our neighbors here. All of these surrounding houses combined all of their leaves and yard waste, and instead of sending it off in a truck to maybe Missouri Organic or another neighboring place, we decided to use it right here in this neighborhood.
Right. Perfect local use, and what's going to happen is probably 30 or 40 yards at least, haven't done the math yet, of compost on-site, well-made, hot enough to kill the weed seeds, and ready just to be screened or maybe even dumped as a mulch on the crops here. So, perfect good use of local resources. Conditions for composting were not perfect after the first build. The pile was marginally too dry and didn't have enough nitrogen materials to get really hot. But it did break down to some degree. This is what the pile looked like before we started on step 2. As you can see, it has grown a healthy crop of weeds, so it must be doing well, right? Actually, I wanted to turn and reinvigorate the compost process in the pile so we could guarantee that we would have good finished compost for use this fall. Our first step was to recruit our skid steer operator extraordinaire, Mark Kalin, to come back and turn the pile and incorporate the new material. Mark drove his machine non-stop for almost 3 hours with his amazing skills. He started by opening up the pile and burying the weeds that had grown on top. Once that was done, we had a short break until Leonard drove his Missouri Organic tanker truck onto the scene. Leonard was carrying 2,500 gallons of yeasty beer dregs from Boulevard Brewing. We had never done this before, so we didn't know how much liquid that would be. Learning how to make compost in a medium-sized pile is the reason we started this Compost Fest in the first place. We started by using a hose and pouring the dregs on top, but after 2 passes, there was still a lot left. So we finally made a lake next to the pile and pushed the pile into the pool of liquid. We used the newly installed water lines at Cultivate KC to moisten the pile thoroughly as Mark was mixing it. Finally, Mark shaped the final windrow and cleaned up the site. We were pretty sure that the water, beer, and yeast would stimulate the critters in the pile into action.
Hi everyone, I'm Brian with Cultivate KC. I was joined today by Stan from Missouri Organics and our friend Mark Kalin, and this is a windrow that we built back in March. At that time, it was mostly chipped wood, some fresh green weeds, what else? Leaves, a little bit of cardboard, that sort of input. And we let it sit all summer. Earlier today, the weeds were easily 12 feet tall on this pile. We had the skid steer out to turn it and sort of reinvigorate it, get some new oxygen in it. And then we were so lucky, Missouri Organic hooked us up with a tanker truck. How much was it, Stan?
2,500 gallons.
2,500 gallons of beer dregs from Boulevard Brewing came out. That was sprayed on the pile. We had the skid steer reincorporated into it, and Stan has reassured me that this pile is going to start cooking really fast. So we are so excited that we'll have a nice finished compost to put on our field this fall. Thanks, Missouri Organics.
3 days later, the temperature was 140 degrees throughout the pile. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned to MissouriOrganic.com for more information.